Noburo Nishino. And what did this bird say to you, Private Nishino? It said, "Yes, sir," several times. The lieutenant nodded slowly. He called to a company sergeant and ordered him to double the number of soldiers on sentry duty through the night. He nodded up to Nishino, dismissing him. All the way back to the spot where Ogawa lay sleeping, he could feel the officer's eyes following him. Shortly before dark the next evening, the soldiers crested a hill, breathing in open air blowing off a long, grassy ridge 100 feet below. The officers walked through the ranks, whispering, ordering them to dig in. Nishino woke to the sound of the Americans talking among themselves below, their conversation carried up to him on the wind. Ogawa was still asleep, and Nishino lay quiet next to him, trying to pick words from the drift. Eased away from the boy finally to relieve himself in the trees. Covered his face as he crouched, shivering uncontrollably, his skin slick with sweat as the stink ran from him. Lieutenant Kurakage was standing over Ogawa when Nishino came back. "Lieutenant," he said, and bowed. He could smell a hint of something sweet in the air, something refined and so foreign to the place and condition he was in that he sniffed the air like a dog. Lieutenant Kurakage smiled at Nishino's confusion, brought his hands from behind his back, and passed across a small crystal bottle. "My wife's perfume," Kurakage told him. "I wanted to have something of her with me." Nishino nodded, unsure what to make of the revelation, wary of the unexpected intimacy. Kurakage's hair was graying at the temples, the bags under his eyes so dark they were almost black. He was older than any other officer in the field with them. "You are not married?" Kurakage said. Nishino shook his head. "There is a woman at home. Someone is waiting for you?" He looked briefly into Kurakage's face, shook his head again. He returned the bottle of perfume. Kurakage watched him a moment. "A story for another time," he said. He looked down at Ogawa, still motionless on the ground, the young man's face even more childish in sleep. The officer made a dissatisfied noise in his throat. "This boy," he said, Chozo, "he depends on you. We help one another." Kurakage nodded dismissively. "What is it that is wrong with him?" "I don't know," Nishino said, though he understood exactly what the officer meant. There was something simple about Ogawa that made him seem younger even than his age. The lieutenant made the same dissatisfied noise and nodded, then turned and left them. Nishino dozed half an hour more, waking occasionally to shift on the ground, catching the faintest scent of perfume every time he brought his hands near his face. The soldiers were given the last of the company's food that afternoon, 1 can of sardines for every 2 men. He and Ogawa cleaned the oil from the can with their fingers. Nishino was hungrier after eating than before, and he felt the hunger sharpening an edge in him. Ogawa stared down at the Americans. They moved about in the open, wearing only undershirts, sunlight glinting off the dog tags around their necks. "I wonder what they're saying." He shook his head in disgust. "Sss, sss. That's all it sounds like to me." Nishino had removed his shoes and socks, splashing his feet with river water from the canteen and wiping them dry with his shirt. All but 2 of his toenails had blackened and fallen off. He said, "They're too far off to make anything out," quickly added, "even if you could speak the language." Ogawa smiled. "We'll hear them up close soon enough," he said. The drone